Fawn
and Matt. We're an interracial couple with 2 kids wanting to do something that highlights the power of friendship and what it means to be in the company of true friends. We're going to move our society away and out of the loneliness epidemic and into a friendlier, happier world. Welcome to our friendly world. Better, stronger, together.
Yoo-hoo! Welcome back. Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
What's that look in your eyes?
What do you mean?
They're all wide.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
They're always like that, usually. Unless I'm super mad at you, then I get squinty.
Maybe you've been mad at me
Shifty.
lately. Ruh-roh.
Okay. All right. Here we go, everybody. Are you ready? Welcome back. Hello. Authentic. All right. Get ready. I have a lot to say.
Okay.
What was it? I'm like, what should we talk about? Like, we were talking. You're like, you know what is real.
Well, that's what you said.
Yeah, I know, because there's so much I want to say about this.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it can lead into so many different directions. I'm going to take us down one path, but another path I want to take us down is, if we have time, is AI and authenticity.
Ooh.
It also goes back to a sense of smell. Anyway, maybe we can get into that later, but okay. All right, everybody, diving into it. Authentic, the etymology. Mid-14th century, it means authoritative.
Okay, well done. Let's move on.
Duly authorized. Duly authorized. I don't know. I kind of want to go back to synthetic sense. Because, okay, a long time ago, I worked for the Aveda Corporation. I worked with Horst Reckelbacher, the founder, the CEO. I worked with him like 20 hours a day, every day. And it was really interesting, like, as we traveled and he spoke to huge audiences, I was really struck by what he was saying. It was a lot of amazing wisdom he would throw out. As much as it was difficult working for this man, it was seriously a defining moment in my life. It was fantastic. But he always talked about synthetic smells or synthetic anything, things coming from petrochemicals, right? And how, we're so, in our culture, in our society, we're so used to syntheticness, things that are not real. And we think they're real. And it made me think recently, as we were talking about, okay, we should definitely do an episode on the authentic friend. How do you know? The thing is that if you can imagine, let's say years and years ago, we were used to nature. We were used to the scent of lavender or scent of anything out there in nature, right? But then someone comes along in a lab and said, hey, look, I made this fragrance of lavender. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just go to the source? But now you have a petrochemical that is made to smell. Or now with food is made to taste like a certain thing. And then it keeps changing. And eventually we are so far off from nature, so far off from the authentic, so far off from the genuine thing, the real thing. And we don't even know what the real deal is anymore. And so think about how the first synthetic scent was so cool in the beginning. But we lose the real sense until we come in contact with the real deal again. And this is what Horst would say. When you smell the real deal, when you're in contact with true authenticity, the true nature of something, the true flower, the true essence, immediately, because your body is from nature, immediately you know it's authentic. You know in your being, your nose knows this is the real deal. Come on, I'm serious. Stop laughing.
Yes.
So it's interesting. Like it works in all pathways of life. Like it's interesting how we now look. Like in our American culture, we look to a third party to find what is true. Like you were talking about this before, Matt, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later because it was something that you brought up, is that especially in the American culture, we look to a third party to find out what is true instead of finding the truth on our own, right?
Right.
So that falls into what we're going to talk about today. But going back to the etymology of authentic, it comes from authoritative, something that is duly authorized. A common definition is living your life according to your own values and goals rather than those of other people. You're true to your own personality and spirit, regardless of the pressure that you're under to act otherwise. You know, if we look at actors, this is something I've noticed for years, is a lot of actors, especially female ones, they tend to, if you really look with like a lazy eye, or sometimes not even that, like with a soft eye, it is really remarkable how they all look the same. It's the same, like sometimes I look at actors on screen, on TV. I'm like, who is that? They have morphed into this sculpted way of looking, and they all look the same to the point where I'm like, who is that? Like even someone so famous that was originally so authentic has been molded, I think probably because they're now older, molded to look a certain way that it's now so superficial, so plastic that I'm like, who is that? Like it's a mask. Am I the only one thinking this way?
Well, I think plastic surgeons have this nasty habit of, in the process of smoothing lines and sculpting noses and chins and whatevers.
But it's beyond that, Matt. It's beyond that. It's the makeup, it's the hair, it's even with voice acting, the sound, like it's all the same. Like I don't know who's at fault here. Is it the actors? Is it the people who hire the actors? But they want that look, and if they feel like that's the popular one, everyone has to be that to get that job because they want that look, they want that sound. Instead of coming from variety and authenticity. And they always say, "Oh, we want the authentic. We want something new." But it's all the same. The majority.
What they want is they want something safe.
Right. Because
market research has indicated that this will, if I put $5 into this with this particular feel to it, I will get back $7.50. So I will continue. That's why we have so many sequels in Hollywood. That's why even they're starting to lament music, and even books are all starting to feel like the same note.
Right.
I read an article recently on books, and as it turns out, the only way a bookmaker really makes money is every once in a while they find that one book that's a home run. But typically they make bank on celebrity books because there's a guaranteed audience.
Yeah.
And it's all about the guarantee, which is weird because guarantee and authentic do seem like they should maybe flow together.
But have you noticed anyone, let's just talk about the arts, whether acting, whatever it is, right? Something that's creative. It's always the authentic people who make it big, who do manage to make it big is what I should say. They're the ones who totally embrace who they are. They are truly unique. And those are the ones who are really funny because they don't care if their gut is sticking out. They don't care if they have wrinkles. They don't care if their face looks ugly when they're saying something a certain way, okay, remember those, the jokers we would watch, Impractical Jokers,
right?
The guys from New York. The funniest guy to me was Joe. It was Joe, right?
Yeah.
Because he didn't care how foolish he looked. He didn't care how his gut stuck out.
And so this is a show where four guys compete to embarrass each other, and the person who does the worst gets a punishment, which is always something a little messed up.
Totally messed up. That's a different story, though.
But no. I just wanted to, for those in our audience who don't understand what these are. So these are people who've known each other for a long time.
They were friends from high school.
It was like they were kind of normal people,
right? But to me, the funniest one was the one who really went for it and didn't care how foolish he looked,
right?
Or popular or handsome, whatever it is, he had no, what's the word? He has no,
shame.
I don't know the word right now, but those people, regardless of what they look, turn out to be the most attractive, I think. You know, when they fully embrace who they are and they fully live in that, I think that is the most attractive thing. Anyway, so the etymology of authentic led me to the origin of the word genuinely. This word genuinely comes from the Latin word for knee. Genu, Genu, referencing a custom of a father acknowledging his paternity by holding his baby on his knee. That's where
All right.
genuinely comes from. So, why the struggle to be authentic? Does it come down to total lack of self-esteem, fear of, or like a strong desire for others to like us? Is that the reason why it feels to me that there is such a struggle to be authentic in people? So anyway, so I was looking at this and I came across this one website, which was pretty cool. Turns out she's a fellow Santa Monica person. She came up with signs that you aren't being authentic.
Ooh.
Her name is Dr. Jennifer Huggins, and the website is painpsychologistla.com.
Pain?
She helps people deal with physical pain.
Okay.
But it's interesting what she says about being genuine, listing 11 examples of how you're not being genuine. Like you may not, people who aren't genuine, I think for forever, like all their lives, don't realize that they're not. They think they are genuine. They don't know. As I was reading this, I think about a friend I have that I sometimes talk about, and my other friends are like, why are you still friends with this person? I think as I was reading these, I always think about her in different examples because she is such an interesting character in life that I always refer to her as, why is she like this? Why is she acting this way? Why would she say this? Why would she lie like this here? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating to me. And I think that's why she's always been on the outskirts of my life, is because I feel like she's such a beautiful lesson in human behavior.
A cautionary tale?
I wouldn't say that. That's so mean. But she is lovely in so many ways, but at the same time could be really harsh and not so lovely. In a way that, you know, I have to have some distance. But I feel like it's important for me to keep looking at this kind of a personality to understand the difference between genuine and not genuine. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So as I was reading these 11 signs, I was thinking about this. So here, check it out. Number 1, these are signs that you're not being genuine or someone is not being genuine. Number 1, you question what you say to others. And what this means is you're not speaking your truth for fear of judgment. So you're afraid of people judging you.
Or fear of perhaps ramifications.
Yes. Number 2, people pleasing. Are you people pleasing? Saying what you believe the other person wants to hear versus how we really feel.
Right. Thank you for your service.
Stop it. Number 3, comparing oneself to others. We may look at the other person as being better than ourselves, as falling short somehow by proxy. This can lead to not showing up in a relationship, owning who we are. This, you know, so we're not owning who we are.
Right.
Right. Number 4, distrust of others. If we genuinely trust other people, we may not share as much about ourselves or hide things about who we are. Number 5, preoccupation with others' faults. The focus becomes off the self. Our true nature may be lost due to focus on what others are doing.
Right. Because if you're going to like criticize or exonerate someone for being a certain way, then you're going to likewise in yourself try and either be that way or, yeah, never mind.
Well, all the focus is off of you.
Yes, but also though, like, if you mock someone because they're wearing pink shoes or something, then you're never going to wear pink shoes, even if you want to.
Interesting, Matt. Okay, number 6 is lying. Lying.
Why are you looking at me like that?
No, because no, I'm thinking about my friends.
Right, I understand.
There are always so many hidden things, which I consider lying.
Right.
So lying to others creates a wall between you and the other person. Oh, that's my phone. I'm sorry. Okay, so lying to others creates a wall between you and the other person. One cannot know who you really are when lies are at play. There, I turned off the phone. Okay, so ready to go to number 7?
Mm-hmm.
Staying quiet or stonewalling during an argument. We're not expressing how we really feel or giving the other person the opportunity to understand our side of the issue. Ready for number 8?
Yes.
Okay. Not forging your own path. Traveling a life path that uniquely expresses who you are, what your passions are, and what you desire is the embodiment of authentic living. If you find yourself living a life for others and making life choices based on insecurity rather than true purpose, your authenticity will be negatively impacted. Number 9, not being humble. Interesting.
That is interesting.
Being able to admit fault and one's mistakes leads to genuineness within self and in relationships. If you are frequently defending your position with others, not being introspective about your role in the situation, or insecurely inflating your importance at the expense of others, genuineness is lost.
Insecurely inflating.
What do you think that means exactly? Insecurely inflating. Oh, so
you're not
you're putting yourself
centered, and you're giving yourself heightened importance that you don't really believe.
Mm-hmm. Or always saying, oh, I'm doing this great thing, or I did this great thing, or yeah, in a way it's kind of like lying, kind of like fake it till you make it.
Right.
Which is still lying, by the way. I don't like that. I don't appreciate fake it till you make it. I'd rather be like, hey, I don't know where I'm doing. This is where I am, but this is where I'm planning and working on going to.
Right.
I can't fake it. Anyway, I think that's a horrible piece of advice to give to people. Fake it till you make it. Anyway, ready for number 10?
Yes.
Wait, I did say number 9, not being humble. Okay, number 10. Lack of empathy. Being able to understand someone else's emotional experience and being open to their thoughts. This versus being caught up in one's own is the foundation of empathy.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
When you're not empathetic, you don't give permission to the other person to be their most authentic self. We lose out on being our most genuine self by not opening to another's experience. Okay, and the final one, number 11, not thinking for yourself, being easily swayed by others, and not sticking to your own values and beliefs. So thank you, Dr. Jennifer Huggins. Great last name. So,
yes.
What do you think?
What do I think? Well, I think the more you're authentic, the more you're mindful, and the more emotional intelligence you have, which takes us right into empathy. So this all slides together for me. The keys to me are really taking that 360 view of yourself, 360-degree view of yourself, honestly, unabashedly, and keeping people around you who know where you've been and certainly have a great deal of empathy for you, but also give you a ration when you deserve it. And all that helps you become more and more authentic.
And that goes in sync with being humble, because if you're willing to hear the maybe not so great things about yourself from others' perspective, You're more able to be flexible like bamboo and bend and sway with the wind and change or transform.
Right.
We don't like the word change. Transform, right?
Yes. I do find it interesting that the etymology was mid 14th century. So people weren't worried about authenticity before the 14th century? Is that when
No,
forgeries started happening? Or
I think that's just
it
when
is interesting.
I just think that's when it became into the English language.
Well,
Like that word came into the English language. I don't think it has anything to do with ethics or how people were feeling. It's
Why
just
not?
a word. It's just a word. I'm sure there was another word before that. Maybe,
Or people didn't worry about it because we lived in such small societies that if you weren't authentic, people quickly discovered that and you were ostracized. And so you were just that guy we don't trust. Not that you're inauthentic, but you're that guy we don't trust.
Yeah, maybe it also has to do with so much that's vying for our attention. And when there's less of that, you're able to spot out the authentic. You have more time, perhaps, to see what's authentic and what's not.
Well,
But if you don't have time to really judge or to research or to investigate something.
right.
You
And
know?
we talked about that today too. Yes, absolutely. Right here in my notes. Oh my goodness. No, in order to, one of the techniques I think you can practice to become more authentic, and a way to determine that you are being more authentic, is that you take time to develop your opinions. You're not just echoing society. You're not just echoing a fragment of society. You're really trying to think for yourself. You're really looking inside of yourself at your inner motivations to try and figure out how you feel, how you react, everything. And these things allow you to not necessarily be less threatened by failure because you're following your heart, you're following your dream, you're following your path, but they also allow you to forge that unique path.
And speaking of forging your own unique path, everyone has a different way of being. Everyone has a different timeline. Some people are fast, some people are slow. People move in different ways. There's that 30-second elevator pitch that we always were told to have, right, for our ideas.
Right.
It seems like to me, let me know if I'm the only one thinking this or feeling this way, but it seems like the 30-second elevator pitch is now 15 seconds. What if you can't express yourself in words in 15 seconds? What if you're the kind of person that needs to show your idea? Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, what if
and
you're
so you're relying on, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're relying on buzzwords that everyone else knows, right?
Yeah.
So then you're not authentic because you're using words everybody else is using so you can communicate faster and quote unquote better to someone, trying to express what your thing is. You know what I'm saying?
Oftentimes what I end up running into is I'll have my own deep-seated belief and we'll have 10 minutes a day to talk over things, and I'll say, but we should do blah, 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 blah. And somebody else is going to have to let that marinate for a while in order for it to make sense. And in some cases, it takes months for things to marinate. A person I work with, more junior developer, he finally came around to my way of thinking. But it took him 6 months. Because I don't elevator pitch, I just walk my walk. And if you don't want to walk that walk, and I can't force you, because that's the other issue. If I have to convince you about something that you're dead set against, I'm not necessarily going to waste my time doing that. I'm just going to show you truth and hope that you get it at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Meanwhile, I'm just going to walk my truth. Mm-hmm. But that's one of the things. I mean, we literally talked about this today. And
us at coffee today?
I have my truth and I want to share that. And you're like, no. You literally said don't share your truth.
I did not say that, Matt. No. It's interesting what you say comes out of my mouth. Those words did not come out of my mouth.
Those words did not come out of your mouth, but you're like, I'm seeing this as a reoccurring pattern. Figure out what's really going to make you happy. Right? That you did say.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
is that the same as
I
don't
know.
speak your
I can
truth?
see the path. I see it right there.
That has nothing to do with your truth. That has to do with you are reliving a pattern. Now, this is going off subject, but you're reliving a pattern every 2 years. You run into the same situation. And unless you take control or like clear that obstacle, you're going to relive it until finally it could take, this is the last time, or it could take another eon for you to overcome that, so you don't have to relive the same issue. That's what I was saying. I did not say don't
But
speak
I need
your
to
truth.
take time to develop my opinion, and that's probably not going to happen by Tuesday.
Look, you asked me, and I said, look, I had nothing to do. First of all, stop saying things I never said. See where you go, and this is why we fight. That I did not say that. Matt is taking cover. I did not say that. Oh my God, we're so off track now. Anyway,
Anyways.
what were you saying? What?
Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about bananas and cinnamon, too.
What?
Bananas don't taste the same as they did when we were young.
How do you remember that?
I didn't like bananas when I was young, and now I'm okay with bananas because bananas don't have a ton of flavor.
But wait a minute. Your taste buds change. I didn't like Brussels sprouts, and now I love them. Oh, I hated avocados, and now I really like them.
What? How could
it
you?
doesn't mean the avocado
Crazy
changed.
talk.
I changed.
But in this case, I do know that the bananas have changed because there was a banana blight. But also cinnamon, right?
Well, there are so many
You
different
think- you
varieties
think-
of cinnamon.
You think your cinnamon in your cinnamon rolls that you get out of a vending machine are real cinnamon, and they're not.
Oh no, there's one cinnamon that's actually really bad for you. So we get true cinnamon.
Right, but I'm talking
totally
about
different.
from a vending machine.
It's probably the junky stuff.
It's right, exactly. So even something that, a spice isn't what we think it is because it's not part of a cinnamon tree or whatever. I think cinnamon's bark. But anyways, I know.
Complicated.
Well, you did a lot of talking at the start, so
No. I'm just saying everything is so complicated.
Everything is
Is
so
this like color?
complicated.
Like the grass is not green, the blue is not a blue sky, the sky is not blue.
Right.
It's all how there is no really real color. It's only what our eyes relate to our brain, and our brain kind of distinguishes what something is.
Talk about really dragging us
Right.
off subject. But
Right?
yes.
But it's the same thing.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And there are things that you stop hearing as you age too.
Oh my God, I don't want to talk about this. This really bothers me, this part. Okay, go on.
Oh.
So what were you saying? What do you mean? So bananas taste different.
Bananas do taste different, and cinnamon
So
isn't cinnamon.
what about it?
Well, and genuine. And you were talking about perfume and the scent of a lilac.
Hold on a second. But does that mean, are you saying bananas are now synthetic?
Well, all bananas are clones now because they take one banana plant and they splice it and splice it and splice it.
I think that's transformation. It's still coming from nature. It's not in a test tube. It's not in a lab.
It's not in a lab.
What I'm
but
talking about is
they're
petrochemicals.
genetically very identical.
Is it different though? Then is it the same? Are you saying it's the
It's
same
the
as
same
saying?
plant.
But is it the same as something that is now man-made?
No. It isn't. But
So it's not synthetic. So it's just transformed. It's a little bit different than
it is.
ingenuine.
It is. But I also wanted to talk about
Is that a word? Ingenuine?
disingenuous.
Disingenuous.
There you go.
Thank you.
Anyways, and I also wanted to talk about how like people who wear perfume over time, it's more and more and more and more and more because they want to smell it and they stop smelling it.
Yeah, because your nose. This goes back to Aveda. Can I interject? Or I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
of
go
course.
ahead.
No. These are just
Well-
intended to spark.
So at Aveda, I worked with the scientists. They had their
Mm-hmm.
own floor, and it was really cool going into the labs. And they were constantly smelling. We had the nose, the person with the scent.
Mhm.
There were always petri dishes of coffee beans everywhere, right? So And again, I'm sorry, I've said this before. I forget what the number was. I think it's 7. After 7 times of smelling something, you need to reset. Like a computer, you need to reboot. So you need to take the petri dish of coffee, sniff it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that coffee clears your senses.
Right.
Your sense of smell. So you can start over again. So you have a fresh palate again to be able to decipher between the different scents. Right? I forgot what I was saying. Oh, how when you do smell the real thing,
Mm-hmm.
you immediately have this knowing this is real.
Right.
Your body never forgets, even if you've never been exposed to it ever. If all you've ever known has been something synthetic, when you come across the real deal, you know it. Much like a person meeting a friend that is true. You know immediately. And then you start noticing immediately the disingenuous ones.
Right.
That's the beauty of really being open-hearted. We were reading the Rumi poem, The Guest House.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, can we revisit that for 1 second?
No way, man.
Okay, never mind. Is it too complicated?
It isn't. Go ahead.
Well, we were saying, Rumi was basically saying, have your heart and arms open to whoever shows up in your life. And with martial arts, with Aikido, we were trained to have a circle and be very careful about who enters your circle. Don't allow just anyone to enter your circle. And I was thinking, well, the great sages like Rumi, but like the great mystics and other great mystics besides Rumi, religious luminaries out there would say, open your home, because it's it's an opportunity for you to establish yourself as a beautiful host. So it goes even to a biblical sense. You are greeted by a stranger who needs food, who comes in, and they come in with muddy boots and they eat everything you have, and they put their muddy boots all over your furniture. And when it's time to sleep, without even asking, they take your bed, your bedroom, your bed, and then they leave things a mess. But you're still honorable and you're still a good host. You don't disrespect them. You don't say no to them. And in a way, isn't that the way we should be with one another, especially as parents? Because you can't be so judgmental about what kind of person you're going to give birth to. It's going to be this completely, wholly their own person coming through. So can you be an open-hearted, open-minded friend? Can you be an open-minded, open-hearted parent that will accept this person for everything that they are and not be so judgmental? And I feel like when we were talking on our podcast episode about Rumi,
Right.
we were like, no, they need to stand back. Get out of here. Get out of here. No. Did we sound like that? I don't remember.
I don't know.
What do you guys think? Did we sound like that, you guys? Listening? Did we sound like that? I'm sorry if we did. I don't know. So how do you feel about that? By the way, revisiting that for a second. Because I'm still stuck somewhere between Aikido.
Balance.
And yeah, well, that's an easy answer. It doesn't really tell me anything.
Yay.
That's a very political rebuttal.
Well, I'm being inauthentic or disingenuous.
You're stonewalling.
I
Is that
am
what
stonewalling.
I'm learning new words.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, you're stonewalling.
I am. Because I'm taking the time to develop my opinion.
Well, to be genuine, like I said, I genuinely do not want to pick anyone up from the airport anymore. Do not ask me to pick you up from the airport or take you to the airport. No.
Oh, dear.
Nope. Mm-mm. That's my genuine self. So being genuine like that. No, I'm tired. I'm sorry. I will not just let anyone in anymore. I used to be open completely.
Okay then. There you go.
But as my genuine fawn self, even though I'm all about the art of friendship, I'm not totally open-hearted like that. to let someone who will like come in and destroy stuff and be like
Mm-hmm.
open to it. No, I'm more. What's the word? More where you're judgy a little bit. What's the word called?
You could call it guarded, but
No, it starts with a D. What's the word with a D? Not disintegrating. I'm more.
disingenuous. But
No,
we've talked about that
more
one a number of times.
deciphering. Deciphering.
Okay, then.
Right? Okay, anyway, moving on. Back on track. What were we talking about?
The trick, I think, though, with being authentic is we have to pick those people, especially the people close to us, and show them who we really are, which is so difficult because, once again, allow me to just lump all the problems of society on social media, because everybody on social media is living their best lives, is living this kind of arcing towards the perfect life. And apparently there's only one, I guess. I don't know. Like, if you're not Taylor Swift, are you a failure? If you're on and on and on, if you're not as beautiful as so and so, if you're not as
Well, it's very
rich
flat.
as blah 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 blah.
It's one way of being. You're always perfectly made out. You're always looking gorgeous. You're always having the perfect meal. You're always in the perfect light.
Well, I am, but thank you for noticing.
It's not showing everything.
Right, it's not showing everything. It's not being authentic, and yet you manage to garner likes. You manage to, but again, this is the trick, because you don't risk, you don't reap the same rewards, and you don't, ultimately speaking, really, I think, learn the same lessons, and you end up following the path instead of finding your own.
But what if you're thinking of it as what you focus on grows? So I'm focusing only on the beautiful light, only on looking good, only on the happy moments to create more of that. No? So
But are you creating saccharine happy moments that everybody would say, wow, that's a happy moment? Whereas for you, maybe a happy moment is,
yeah, it has to be genuine.
oh my God, I found a peanut. I mean, that could be a happy I don't know.
You're right. You're right.
Wow, look at that red dog.
I see the difference. I totally see the difference. I'm just thinking, I was thinking like, if they're actually showing happiness, it's because they're showing happiness. But yeah, you're right. As soon as the camera is off, they may be like frowning, or it's just for show.
Right. Or it's like they're like, chocolate tahini, that's just wrong, or who knows.
Okay, so moving on. Moving on. What else? What are you saying? Are you done with all your notes?
I might be done with all my notes.
Taking it to friendship. A genuine friend for me is... Oh, I just had this thought before we were... What were we just now talking about? What did you say?
The red dog? The peanut?
Before that.
There's no absolutes. There's no one best. There's a Zen story about a butcher. Somebody walks into his butcher shop and says, give me your best cut of meat. And the butcher says, all my cuts are best. Because best is such a subjective term, because, and again, Zen cone, so it goes wherever you choose to take it. But one of the places you certainly can take it is what's best for you right now, or what's best, what's best for you right now.
You know, okay, so taking it to friendship and taking it to being genuine, authentic. Now, I'm going to say something, but I want to preface it by saying I'm actually quite, what's the word when you're shy about stuff? Like, it means reserved. I'm very, like...
Conservative?
No, not conservative. I'm not conservative, but I'm modest. I feel modest. I feel modest.
Modest is good.
So bear in mind, I'm still modest, and I'm going to describe myself in such a way that may seem like I'm not. I am actually like super shy. But as far as being genuine, in friendship especially, I feel like I felt this way all of my life because I come from a family that wasn't genuine.
Mm-hmm.
So from the beginning, I always thought it was quite interesting, the behaviors that I was noticing. So I naturally was always the opposite of that. And maybe that's why it was good for me to grow up in the family that I grew up with, because from the beginning, having memories, I knew my way of being. Like, this is me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say these things. I'm not going to block this way of emotion. I'm just going to be who I am. And so I feel like I am a nudist walking around completely naked. No makeup, no mask, no superficiality. This is who I am because I feel that I have so much I want to say and do. I don't have the energy to put up a front, to stonewall, or to lie, because then I have to keep track of whatever it is that was said or
Right.
not said.
Mm-hmm.
And relating it to friendship, when I show you everything, I'm showing you everything without any walls. And as I have gotten older and I've made so many friends and unmade so many friends, and not that I'm the one who unmade it. A lot of people left because they couldn't handle my tears. They couldn't handle me not putting up a face that they did. You know, like, and it was never that I was accusatory of someone else. It was like, I am feeling this, and they couldn't handle it.
Well, there's an uncomfortableness when someone is being authentic around you and you know you're not.
Some of the authenticity is difficult to handle for other people. It triggers them.
Yes, very much.
And then they disappear, and that's fine. But you have to know that it happens to everybody. So when it happens, it's very painful when people disappear like that.
Right.
But just keep going. Just keep going, because there are others of us out there who can appreciate. They're the number 3 friends. Nicomachean ethics of friendship. The number 3 friend loves you for all of it. Your ugly days, without makeup days, without laughter days. It's all a beautiful package, and nothing lasts forever. So laughter, rosy, sunny days don't last forever. You get days that are like all seasons. The moon rises and sets. The sun rises and sets. You have all the shades and all the colors of a rainbow that are infinitely going to one shade to another. There's more to life than we can see. There's a lot happening. So there's not one thing. To be authentically a good friend, or to be an authentic friend, we need to remember that infinity type of existence, that things are forever changing, to honor that, to respect that, and not be so triggered by it and not take it so personally.
To quote Hitch, the movie with Will Smith.
Oh, it's been so long.
It has, hasn't it? And this is a dating movie, and people want to get to know the real you. Maybe not all at once, but they want to know the real you. So that's where I come to it from. As I'm making friends, I'm very quick to point out my own things I should be humble about, and very slow to notice those about others until they show me and tell me. And if you don't tell me and show me, then we're not deepening anything. So people want to get to know the real you. So show them.
Cool. Thanks for listening, everybody. We shall see you, talk to you in a few days. And if you need us before then, reach out to us. Have a beautiful every day.
Be well.